Welcome. Ani Buju, Wache Akinawea. Joseph Maurice Indigenous, Indigenous Indigu, Wabasasian. So Bindigan, welcome everyone. We acknowledge that for today's virtual gathering, I am seated near the rapids of Bawating, historic meeting place for Indigenous people from across Turtle Island. This land is the ancestral, treaty, and title lands of the Anishinaabe Nation in the Robinson-Huron Treaty and the Métis of the Great Lakes homeland. I wish to recognize the neighboring First Nation communities, including Batchewana First Nation and Kitigan-Shabi, commonly referred to as Garden River First Nation, and the Sault Ste. Marie Historic Métis Council. We also recognize that Bawating is home to many urban Indigenous people from across Turtle Island. We recognize that participants in today's meeting also reside within several other treaty areas, including Robinson Superior and Treaty 9, and work in partnership with multiple First Nation and Métis communities within the watersheds of the Upper Great Lakes. This week is Treaties Recognition Week in Ontario. Treaties were built on relationships between the original First Peoples of Turtle Island and Europeans represented by the Crown and Canada. As we engage in our learning today on how we can foster learning and working environments and spaces where everyone feels connected, respected, and safe, excuse me, in the spirit of truth and reconciliation, let's also reflect and commit to the relationships we nurture with Indigenous students, families, and communities. We also take this moment to collectively honor the legacy of the Honorable Murray Sinclair, who began his journey to the spirit world earlier this week. His leadership and persistence brought us the 94 calls to action of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, which has provided a roadmap to relationship building between Indigenous and non-Indigenous Canadians to help us heal as a nation. As author Tanya Talega was quoted this week, our greatest gift to Sinclair's legacy would be to ensure that Canada fulfills all 94 of the calls to action that he gave us, so that every child feels like they belong, that they have a purpose and are proud of who they are. That quote really hit me this week as we look at our focus today on belonging and ensuring all students feel they have a place and all staff feel they have a place in our role, again, relationship with Indigenous people. As Murray Sinclair shared, education is the key to reconciliation. Education got us into this mess, and education will help get us out. As Canadians, and more importantly, as educators, we cannot take the blame for the past. However, we all have a role in reconciliation and ask today that we reflect on that role in our learning throughout today. Miigwech, Marcy, thank you. So again, want to thank everyone for joining us today. Really looking forward to our work together. Sorry, I'm trying to get through. Looking forward to our work together today. As we move forward, I'd like to introduce Nicole Kay, one of our Wellbeing Special Assignment teachers, to an introduction with DR.ABC, or Dr. Andrew Campbell. We are really looking forward to work with him today and excited about the time we're going to have together today. So I'm going to move over to Nicole.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. It is my absolute honor to introduce today's incredible facilitator. Dr. Andrew B. Campbell, DR.ABC, is an assistant professor teaching stream in leadership for racial justice and teacher education in the Master of Teaching program at the Ontario Institute for Studies in Education, OISE, University of Toronto. He is coordinator for the Black Future Educators program and the newly appointed director of the Center for Black Studies in Education. DR.ABC is known to the OISE and wider community for his leadership on advancing equity, leadership, 2S LGBTQIA+ community, and teacher education. DR.ABC's exemplary work has seen numerous awards bestowed to him, such as a 2024 recipient of the Black History Month Award from the Jamaica Canadian Association, the 2022 Award for Excellence in the Initial Teacher Education from the University of Toronto, the 2021 Distinguished African Caribbean Award from the University of Toronto, African Alumni Association, the 2021 Champion Educator Award from the Ontario Alliance of Black School Educators, and numerous others. He presently teaches courses in anti-discrimination education, leadership, educational change, urban education, and Black educators' identity and pedagogy. He has presented at numerous conferences and has delivered many presentations as a keynote speaker, motivational speaker, and workshop facilitator. He loves people, food, fashion, traveling, and bringing his community together for a good meal. Today, we are incredibly lucky to have him with us to share his insights and strategies on creating meaningful change in our schools. Please join me in warmly welcoming Dr. ABC. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I did put in the chat, but I know some of you are in big spaces, so you didn't get to maybe see the chat. I'm going to ask that as many of us could turn our cameras on to do so. We have to ensure that we fill up the space. Speaking to a blank room of screen is never the best energy, vibe, frequency, or mode to get into. And so I trust and hope we do that. This is not just a listening session. It's an keynote, and I would love to see some of us. Not everybody needs to be on screen, but as many of us as possible so we can engage into the space. Thank you so much. I see you, schools. I see groups of schools. I love to see that because I know you're projecting from school. So seeing a group of school, I see that. I see you. Yes, I see you waving back to me. I think it's DR.ABC or whatever that school is. Thank you so much, Tarmo. Wonderful. I see you. I see it. And then many of you, I see you, Mike. I see Shaham. And many of you are in your individual spaces. I am very honored. I know you said it in my introduction. I know you said in my introduction that it was such a privilege for you to have me here to be with you, but I'm going to let you know, I mean it when I say it's a privilege for me to be invited to be into this space. You know, a lot of us, we want to do certain things in our lives, and we want to make sure we share our knowledge, share our work, and do stuff. And we can't get to do that unless we have those opportunities. And so for me to come into your schools, to come into your offices, to be into the space, to have the discussion with you about belonging, I am absolutely honored to be in this space. And so thank you, thank you, thank you. The chat is also open. So if you ever, what I'm speaking, you want to jump a question in at the same time, you want to say something, you want to make a comment, you want to fill the space with your energy as well, that is absolutely allowed. And don't worry, you're not distracted me when you share something in the chat. We're going to engage in this discussion this morning, and the discussion is about cultivating and sustaining intentional spaces of belonging in our classrooms, in our schools, in our hallways. And I put the word classrooms there because that's like an all-inclusive, so to speak, term. But I want to make sure you understand that the conversation we're having today about intentional spaces of belonging, it's about the cafeteria, it's about the outside, the playground, it's about how you come to school, it's about the buses, it's about the transportation, it's about the after school, the before school, the activities, it's about all the spaces. I want to be very clear on that. All the spaces you and I, our parents, our students, our community occupy. I want you to understand belonging is something the first thing I want you to write down on your notepad or somewhere, belonging is something we have to embody. I really want to make sure, I was going to say that later on, but I don't want to forget it. Belonging is something we have to embody. Equity is something we have to embody. Inclusion is something we have to embody. Listen to me carefully. Kindness, empathy, and caring is something we have to embody. These are not skills you jump at school, you try to do them, and then you leave them you abandon them the next time around. These are skills. These are dispositions, these are knowledges, these are attitudes we have to embody. I feel like I'm stuck in on that very sentence for a while. I want to move on, but my energy is saying I need to stick around that little bit for a minute. I want you to understand that many of us, especially those of us who are principals and leaders, and we're given the title and the position to do the equity stuff, some of us, we are stressed out with the things. Honestly, that's fine. And so what we do, to get it over with, we try to check the box quickly, Camille. You know that kind of way? Susanna, we just got it. Okay, I've done that. I put up the flag. Oh, yes, it's Pride. I put the flag up. Oh, it's orange t-shirt there. I wear my orange t-shirt. Okay, yeah, we have done this. It's Black History Month. There is Black History Month assembly. 15 minutes. We're going to go quick this time and be over with it. I get it. But when we do that, nothing is sustained. And you keep on wondering why you're coming back to it over and over again, because it's not in you, it's not in the school, it's just something that we do. It's just something we just do. It's just something we observe. It's not something we are. It's not someone we are. So I want you to understand, as I get the energy to move on, is that cultivating, sustaining intentional space of belonging depends on all of us. Jennifer, I like to call names. Anthony. It depends on all of us. We have to show up intentionally. That's why I put the word intentional. I didn't have to put the word intentional. I'm not lacking with words. But I put the word intentionally there, Jennifer, so us to understand it don't just happen. You know, let me give you an example. It's coming up to Christmas time, and a lot of our children believe that when we get up on Christmas morning, the present just appear. I know that's what we have done for years, and it seems so cute, and it seems such a beautiful story. You went to sleep in the morning, you know, magic, and the presents appear. Well, let me be very frank with you. It doesn't work like that. That kind of magic, that kind of fairy tale doesn't work with belonging, inclusion, equity, safety, braveness, and courageous conversation. They don't just happen. They are intentionally cultivated, nurtured, and created by you and I. So when you go to a school, when you go to a building the next time, and you walk into a particular school and you go, wow, there is such a sense of belonging in this school. I want you to realize that there were people in that building, principals, teachers, office staff, janitor staff, whoever staff, that were intentional in creating that environment. Let no one fool you. No matter how powerful you are, you can't paint a building, put in new furniture, put in new signs, put in beautiful things on the wall, and just think, because I do all of this, people are going to feel a sense of belonging. That is not true. Sense of belonging has to be cultivated, created, fostered, nurtured, and protected. And so today we're just going to have some reflections, and you're open to take pictures of any one of my slides. You have permission to do that. Share it with your friends, share it with yourself, share it on your social media. I'm absolutely fine. So you have my permission, so no need to worry. I want you to understand, we're going to talk about how do we develop that understanding of having these brave conversations. And I want you to know that this is the first of maybe 2 conversations I'm going to have with your staff, and maybe more to come. And I want you always to understand, when you come to equity conversations, they are brave conversations. We love to say we like courageous conversation. That was a thing going on. It was a sexy topic going on. Oh, I want to go to a courageous conversation. Oh, I love. No, you don't. No, you don't. Many of you, we don't. Because as soon as a conversation becomes courageous, you become uncomfortable. And then you disengage. And so I want to implore you, invite you, remind you that we are the adults in the room. I remember going to Teachers College. I was always reminded of that by my professors. You are going to be the adult in the room. We are the adults in the room. We have to pull up with a different kind of energy. We have to pull up being honest about courageous conversation. Because you know what? I'm going to tell you what's going to happen, Jennifer. Courageous conversations do allow us to be a little bit uncomfortable. And it's okay. We're adult enough, we're strong enough, we're qualified enough, we're educated enough to sit in that for a little bit. We don't have a whole day, just a little bit. Just a little bit. Because here is the trick. You and I have the power and the privilege to sit in it for 1.5 hours today. That's it. But there are people who live in it all their lives. I want to repeat that so people understand where I stand. You and I have the power and the privilege to sit in a brave and a courageous conversation for 1.5 hours, and then we disengage. We go outside, we take our cup, we turn off our screen. But the people and the students and the community that we serve, not everyone has that power, that access, and that possibility. And that is why we talk about students who are disenfranchised. We talk about people who are othered. We talk about persons who are marginalized, persons who are racialized, persons who are excluded and erased. Those are powerful language we need to capture and understand that you and I walk in a certain power and privilege, and that is okay. I am absolutely happy to know that I have certain privilege and power. But how do we use that? How do we use that to ensure we create belonging? So if you want to write down your first takeaway question today, it's how do we as educators and educational leaders, impactors, and influencers in education use our gifts, our talents, our access, our power, our privilege, our voice, our signature, our authority, our love, our care, our empathy to do the actual work? Because when our superintendent, our leader introduced us this morning, you said something which I'm going to get to later on about, oh, let me not get to it later on. My spirit says get to it now. Let me get to it now. You made a comment. I'll get back. Don't worry. It's my slide. I can go back and forth. You made a comment about orange t-shirt then truth and reconciliation. I had a very sad day a couple weeks ago, Camille. I was sitting in the usual orange t-shirt, truth and reconciliation, day of truth and reconciliation, and they show the diagram, a graphic of the 94 little boxes of things that were promised. Here we go with that magic word, promised. I'm very kind of over promises. So, when I go to events and they do a lot of promises, I if I have a glass of wine, I just sip it because I can't do too much of the promises. Because we are seeing how we are promising and we're not being. And my heart was broken because a reminder is important. And I was happy to get the reminder. I was happy to feel what I felt, knowing I have work to do myself as a leader in education. I saw the 94 boxes and only 13 had any kind of action on it. 13. 8 years. 13. They use statistics from the Yellowhead Institute from 2023. 8 years, 13. If we think that is good, that is amazing, that is progress, it's not. It is not. This is why people don't trust us. This is why we hear the word about how performative we are when it comes to equity. So our speaker that day, one of our speakers, Professor William from the University of Toronto, he said something that I capture and I have been repeating. He said this response, whatever we are doing here, he said this response begins with inclusion. And then he said it matures into belonging. A lot of us are doing some good stuff in including people, but they don't feel any sense of belonging. It's level one. Raise the standard. It's level one. And as I talk about raising the standard, I want to ask you a question as we get into this. I want you, if I was in the room with you and I was in your space, and I'm going to ask some of you to do that for me because I see you. I see a whole bunch of you in classes. Take out a sheet of paper in your groups. Northland. I see your Northland Adult Learning Center. Take out a sheet of paper, Northland. Take out a sheet of paper. It is Tarmo. Tarmo, take out a sheet of paper. I see Anthony over there in your group. Take out a sheet of paper. Laura, I see you over there in your group, and MHS. Take out a sheet of paper, Dominic Lozo. Take out a sheet of paper. And what I want for you to do is to draw this quickly. Draw this quickly. And I want you to just stay in reflection. No need to speak. Just stay in reflection and ask yourself, if belonging is the foundation, if you and I made belonging the foundation, what are the possibilities? What are the things in this pyramid that would grow when belonging is the bedrock, is the foundation, when belonging gets to be solidified, when inclusion starts and we get to foster belonging, we cultivate it, we protect it, we nurture it, we install it, we ground ourselves in it. What are the things that will possibly happen? And I can tell you, I've been doing this like a road show for the last couple months. Everywhere. Jennifer, if I tell you, you wouldn't believe it. Jennifer, if you go on my website, you will see tons of topics you could choose from to have me speak. I get 80% of requests asking me to talk about belonging. So I know something is happening. People are getting it. They're saying, you know what? We think we're doing something, but it's not sticking. And it's not sticking because it's a lot on paper. That's why. It's a lot of stuff on paper. People always like to send me their 10-page equity policy for me to look at. And I always say to them, I don't want to look at it. I could Google it. There's a million online I could Google. You could Google it. Somebody asks you tomorrow morning, Camille, to write a new equity plan for the board. You don't have to waste your time. You could Google one and just borrow from places. That's unnecessary work. What we're lacking, Camille, is the intentional actions. What are we going to do with it? The 10 pages, the 11 pages, what are we doing with it? It as in the 11 pages of stuff. What are we doing with the stuff? Because when we are doing with stuff, I remember 2020, I did an interview with Simcoe County, and I said too many of our students are made to feel like they are strangers in schools, as if they are interrupting something. How are we allowing our students to feel like the classroom belongs to them? It is theirs. How are you centering them to let them know this space is yours? I see you. I see your color. I see your race. I see your identity. I see your food. I see your family. I see your religion. I see your clothes. I see your books. I see your songs. I see your music. I see your dance. I see your assistant technology. I see your physical abilities and disabilities. I see you. Welcome to the school. I see you. And I am here to ensure you feel a sense of belonging. I know you're in the art of hearing program. I know you need a ramp to get in. I know the playground needs to be adjusted. I know my test and measurement needs to be adjusted. I know you don't learn that way. I know you're on the spectrum. How are you saying to students, I know I see you by your actions? See, I'm here for actions today, Scott. I'm here for the action today, Jane and Elaine. I'm here for the actions. How are we doing that in intentional ways? You know, I haven't said this. I'm a storyteller. You all know that. Some of you don't know it. Some of you will know today, right? I haven't said this story in ages, but I was doing a workshop once. I will never forget, and you could feel the close off mindset of many of those teachers. I feel it. I know it. I've been around. Not everybody who comes to these equity talk are into equity. No. It's speedy day. You have to come if we're going to mark you absent. Say, I'm a school teacher. You have to remember that. Northland Adult Learning Center, I see you. I feel your beautiful energy coming towards me. Continue sending it. I feel it. I want you to understand, I'm a school teacher like you. Don't be carried away by my professor title. I've been a school teacher for 27 Septembers. I know what the playground looks like. I know who don't want to be on yard duty today. So I understand the conversations we have had in the staff room when nobody's watching. I have heard the comments in the staff room when nobody's listening. I know how we feel. Some of us, we are over it. I have done workshop in 2020 during the George Floyd time when everybody wanted to hear about anti-Black racism. And some people were over it. They only come to the meeting because it was staff meeting. So with that kind of mindset, we all are students stagnant. I'm going to tell you a secret, Diane, why I'm good. Oh no, I'm serious, Diane. I'm very good at what I do. I'm going to tell you why I'm good, Diane. I'm going to be honest with you. I love learning. And I've been a new teacher many times because I've been an LTO. So a lot of times I'm new, right? Now you get it. I'm new. I have to come to the school. Nobody know who I am. And you are my new principal. I have to prove myself. And I'm always learning. I go to every workshop. I come with a new idea. I'm always testing something out. So my product stays fresh. And I'm also learning, Diane, by relearning and unlearning. because there are things I came to Canada with as a black immigrant man from Jamaica with a British school system. Oh, you'll be surprised, Diane, if I tell you, when I was a young teacher, the kind of language we use in classrooms sometimes. I would never speak to a child in that manner. But that's what I grew up listening to other teachers speak. How we label our students. I work in a school where we had from 6 levels. So grade 1A, grade 1B, grade 1C, grade 1D, grade 1E, grade 1F. I mean it. And if you teach grade 1F, you know where you are at. There is nobody even can't even spell their own names. And we treat the children just like that. We speak to them without hope. We speak to them without love and empathy. And you're saying, Dr. ABC, really? We're teachers. We all have love. Don't do it. Don't do it. No, we all don't. No, we all don't. No, we all don't. Don't let me stop this slide and show you incidents happen in school. I have a whole list of incidents happen in school under the watch and under the act of educators that are hateful, that are homophobic, that are racist, that are exclusive, that are erasive, that are downright mean. We have to be honest. Let me help you what honesty looks like. Let me stop sharing so I could help you. Have you ever noticed how we have conversations about residential schools? Anybody ever notice? We wear our orange t-shirt, Jennifer. We show up to the event. It's well planned. It's good. We take a moment of silence and we are solemn. And we say everything about residential school and residential survivors. But we really don't talk about what really happened in the schools. We made it almost sound like once upon a time, these children went to these schools, and while they were asleep and everybody was asleep, this ghost came into the building, and all of a sudden the students disappeared, and we found them in graves. That's not the story. That's not the truth, Jennifer. I feel my energy shifting. That's not the truth. The truth is Indigenous kids were murdered, hurt, harmed, and abused under the watch of people who were supposed to be their educators, their caregivers, often dressed in habits and colors. I'm going to pause for dramatic effect. So the next time you have this conversation about what happens in residential school, we need to be a little bit more honest, because that's why we are not having belonging. Because what we're doing, we're boiling down belonging to a stick and a star and a sign and a symbol. And we are good with that. Belonging is more than a stick and a star. Belonging is more than an orange t-shirt and a pride flag. It's deeper. It's the next level. It's substantial. It's impactful. It's intentional. We want to change, because here is the truth. We absolutely know which one doesn't belong. When I started this conversation maybe a while back, maybe 3 or more or 5 more years back, when I just started, a lot of people are catching on to belonging. I've been doing belonging conversations a while. And somebody would say, but when we talk about racism and we talk about certain things in residential schools, the little children really don't understand. Of course they do. Of course they do. Of course they do. And if you're a teacher, you understand scope and sequence. You understand that you speak about topics at a certain level, at a certain rate, at a certain space, and at a certain scope. But let me take you back to the scope of a kindergarten. We used to go, when we were in kindergarten, Susanna, I don't know if you remember, Susanna, we usually get the little things to shade and color. And we'll get a paper, and they would give us an orange, an apple, a banana or a peach, and a pair of socks or a pair of shoes. And they would say to us, Susanna, circle the one or shade in the one that does not belong. You remember that? We all did it in school. Yes, thank you so much. I see the nods. We all did it. We knew what was not belonging, who did not belong. Well, it's the same way our students are getting indicators of belonging. So let me explain to you what I mean. When you came into school today, when you pulled in today, you knew you were supposed to be at your school. There are many little things that happen. Some of you have coffee for the team this morning. Some of you had a whole breakfast this morning at school. Some of you, when your friend save a seat for you, I know that kind of vibe. You want to sit beside your friend. You know that. I love that kind of vibe. You pick your friend, pick up your coffee. They know you like 2 cream, 2 sugar. They know whatever milk you take, almond milk or oat milk. You don't want the regular. They know you. Some of you have your parking spot with your name there. Some of you, there's no name at your parking spot, but everybody know you park there. So nobody wants to park there. Nobody's going to park there. They leave it for you. They know it's your spot. You get a wave in the office this morning, Camille. They know that you're coming in. Somebody compliment you on your shoe, compliment you on your hairstyle, compliment you on something. You get a warm smile. You get a wave. You get a wink down the hall. You know you belong. Your name is on, some of you have your name on your door. Your favorite cup is there. If you leave it in the auditorium, somebody will find it and bring it to the office, Camille. These are the things that tell you you belong here. Well, I'm going to give you some news on a Friday morning. The same way, Camille, you and I, Joe, we know that we belong. The same way, Natalie, you and I know we should be here, we belong here. There are people who have little indicators that says to them, you do not belong here. So I want you to do a little search for me in your heart. Don't write anything down. No, don't do anything like that. I want you to ask yourself, are there any indicators in my school that say to particular people, you do not belong here? We're not being reflective now, Natalie. We're past reflection. We're past reflection, being reflective. We're going to go into being reflexive. Watch me carefully. Everybody write it down. We are going into a level of critical reflection. This one is next level. When you think about the things, Natalie, critical reflection, you feel it in your body. You feel, some people feel it in your shoulders, you feel it in your stomach, you feel it, you literally feel it. You feel that heaviness. Sometimes you go to critical reflection, you have to sit a certain way, move, you literally feel it. That's where we're at. I want us to think about who are those people that may be possible feeling they do not belong, because there are messages that are being sent to them that you do not belong. I always say this, I've always repeated this many times. I have been to events. If you follow me on social media, I'm always dressed up. I love clothes. I love fashion. And I wear a whole lot of clothes, right? And I've been to events in hotels and ballrooms where there are 500, 600, 1,000 more people. And I've been mistaken for catering. Catering has never looked like this. Catering has never looked this fabulous. Never looked this fabulous. And somehow in a space that big, you mistake me for catering. Because in some of those spaces, especially if I go to a really fancy place, a big hotel, and there's a big event, some people would think that this black guy, that's me, the black guy, is the keynote speaker. Because that's what you're used to. In your space, somebody like me don't take up this kind of space. So ask yourself, who within your institutions and your organization may be feeling that way? Who are the ones who don't feel like they can show up at school in their fullness? I was in New York and somebody talked about, no, it wasn't New York. I was doing Nova Scotia. And someone talked about identity, and the person before me talked about identity, and we identifying who we are, and to get the data so we can be ourselves. And I had to jump on that, and it was so beautiful how the person crafted, but I needed to highlight it. And I said, Can we actually be honest and show up as our full self? Because I come from Jamaica, and many times I could not show up as my full authentic self. Growing up as an effeminate child, finding out that discovering my sexuality at an early age, I had to hide myself. It's dangerous to say you are gay. I had to hide myself. So as much as you're talking, Angela, Cove, they're talking about showing up as yourself. Angela, I couldn't show up as myself. Anna, I'm not going to show up as my full self. How dare you? Why? Because it's dangerous, Anna. I can't. There is hate. There is heavy bullying. There is exclusion. I'm going to be denied a promotion. I'm going to be denied access. I'm not going to be invited. I'm going to be uninvited. I am not going to be welcomed. And I want you to make a note of those words I'm using. Uninvited, welcome, and those words. Make a note of them because I'm going to show you some research in a minute. So when we say we are trying to cultivate belonging here in our school board right now, I want you to also ask yourself, who are the students and the teachers and the staff members who are unable to show up as their full self? They can't tell you they are indigenous. They don't want to tell you they are immigrant. They tell a lie about who they are because they know if you know certain things about them, you may not want to engage them. Who are those people? Because one size does not fit all. And that's not my message today, actually. My message is, if you look at the picture, forget the label, look at the photograph, and look at what being asked. We are being asked at this time to sit an exam where the requirement for success, the requirement for excellence, the requirement for student achievement is you must be able to climb this tree, Paul. But some of us can't, Paul. The fish in the tank is not going to do it. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. The elephant it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. How are we going to make some adjustment? How are we going to make some adjustments? How are we going to make some real, genuine accommodations and genuine fostering inclusion? How are we going to do this, Laura and Nancy? How are we going to do this, MHS? I see you, MHS. How are we going to do this in MHS? I'm not talking about the other school right now. MHS, it's us. It's just us talking. Because I'm going to tell you why I single you out. I single you out because when we think about inclusion, I want you also to not just think about the board, think about your own school. Because schools are different, populations are different, you come from different spaces. Not every school is the same. The students are not all the same. The energy in the building is not all the same. So we have to think about our own school as well. What makes us different? What's going on around our environment? How are we getting access to resources? I'm going to tell you a story of belonging. I went to a school when I was an LTO. And I was an LTO for 4 months. And I walk into that school the first day of September. It was a grade 1 school in Toronto District School Board. It had 21 desks and chairs, Angela. And it had a little bookshelf with a whole bunch of books that were just a mess. And that was it. That was it. That was it. A lot of racialized kids. That was it. The first day of school, I was an LTO. I walked in a new LTO. Just walking, just got hired on the spot. And I was shocked. Those children did not have a first day of school. I left school that day, Angela, when I got the job, and I drove straight to the dollar store. I spent over $200 of my own money as an LTO. I don't know if the school is going to give me back. That wasn't my point. My point was there are 21 little racialized black and brown kids who did not get a first day of school vibe. Their door wasn't swimming into grade 1, swinging into grade 1, jumping in. None of that they got. None of that. None of that. They had a substitute for the first half, then they had somebody else, and then they had me saying good afternoon, maybe 2 o'clock. Said, I'm going to be your teacher. I see you in the morning. Went to the dollar store, Angela, and I purchased over $200 worth of stuff. I went to school the next morning about 7 a.m. Early, early, early. Asked the security people to let me in. Took off my tie and every single thing. And I got working to create an environment that say to those little children, you deserve it. Welcome to school. This is going to be your place. Fix it up. And they walked in and they were in awe. I left that school after 4 months of my contract being over. And I moved to a school 20 minutes up the road, Angela. 20 minutes up the road. And it was a grade 6 I got. And when I walked into that classroom for the first day, it was absolutely beautiful. And they had a room, like a storeroom for stuff. When I opened the door, I was shocked. I thought I was in Walmart. They had every single thing you could think of. Same school board, 20 minutes away, serving a different population in a different community. I want us to understand when we talk about equity, we talk about inclusion. I want us to understand, I want us to be very clear on who is being given what. I want us to be very clear that there are issues in our learning community. And I want us to be clear we need to be addressing those issues. There are things that are preventing our belonging. And I want us to address them in our individual schools. I want you to remember that someone took the time. When you go into a school and you see it's been great, Tanya Williams, someone took the time to cultivate and nurture the belonging in the room. Someone had to do the calling out and do the calling in. Someone had to hold someone or themselves accountable. Someone had to decide we're going to really have the discussion and really get to the bottom of this. Someone had to be intentional about the ways they include parents and community. Someone had to be intentional about the ways in which we acknowledge the land and talk about indigenous folks and talk about our indigenous community and talk about the persons who live and work and breathe among us, who have certain identities, the way we speak to them, the way we see them, the way we greet them, the way we include them, and not in a performative way. I know many times somebody invite me to be on a committee. I know I go and I realize I'm the only black man, Tanya, and I know they do want, a black person in the picture because it look bad on them by now. They feel a little bit of conscience. But they really don't want me to really be there. They just want, a token. The trick, however, Tanya, is that I always show up. So when I show up and I open my mouth, then they go, OMG. Bad, bad, bad choice. He's not the best token. Bad choice. Because I'm not a good token. I could tell you from now. I am not the best token. I am not the best. Because a token just be there to make up the numbers so you could see them. And you speak on their behalf and you represent and you speak for them. You can't speak for me because I have to share my own voice as a black man. I have to share my own voice as an immigrant man. I have to share my own voice as a person with a beautiful Jamaican accent. I have to show up as myself because we live in a world where many of us, including myself, we came up under colonization. And so all the stories we know are the stories of the hunter. For me, I'm working with the story of the lion. So I don't show up any space to tell the story of the hunter. That's why I'm excited to be here. Because I know you want to talk about the belonging and how you develop belonging. But it has to start with a level of honesty. And so I already spoke to you about that. So what is belonging? I want you to understand belonging is a subjective feeling. First thing I want you to get. It's a subjective feeling. You cannot force people to feel belonging, Anthony. Tarmo, school over there. You can't force people. to feel belonging. I know many of us, we have very good hearts. I know that of a fact. And we want to create an environment where our students feel safe. And oftentimes, because we don't have big power to do big things, we create a little space in our classroom, in our rooms, in our schools. Or we kind of, label it safe. We paint it yellow, nice flowers, a nice little couch, some bean bags, squeezy toys, which is all good. And then we say, well, this is a safe space. Laura, is it a safe space? I don't know. You tell me. Is it a safe space, Angela Cove? I don't know. You tell me. Because you and I, Angela, don't have the power to just say it's safe. The users, the students have to tell you it's safe. You introduced me and we're talking about the awards that I've gotten. And some of you have heard me say this before. My best award is when our students tell their parents and the parents tell me that Mr. Campbell, Dell came home and he said, you are the bestest teacher in the world. I said, I am the bestest teacher in the world. That's my favorite title. I actually plan, no joke. I'm not joking. I'm not joking. I actually plan to get something made. I want to get something made at my wall around here. This is my best gift ever. My favorite gift ever. Ever. Favorite gift ever. It was made at that same school I tell you about in my story. It was made by a teacher, a librarian who had the children write something for me. Every time I cried like a baby, many times I remember this experience and the words they use. I bring it to you for a particular reason. I spent 4 months in this school, Anna, and I created a level of belonging for those children. The language, I want you to listen to me carefully, everybody. The language of hope and of love and care I used to those children was absolutely important. I want you to listen to me very, very carefully on this one. I want you to listen carefully. The language of hope and love and care that I used for these students. When the librarian created this gift for me, it's in a glass and a butterfly shelf, and I got it and I read it. I cried nonstop. I cried nonstop. The language that they used to me was the language I used to them. They said, Mr. Campbell, you are the greatest. We love you. You are amazing. You are kind. I will miss you. You are awesome. You are awesome. You are great. I love you. I love you. You are beautiful. I miss you. You are fabulous. They like my fabulous boots. I showed you that for a reason. This is a class of 21, 5, and 6-year-old kids. And these were what they choose to write about me, to create this gift, to give to me. The language used to me was the language I used to them. The way I saw them, the way I reminded them they were beautiful, they are talented, they are going to be great, they are amazing, I love you, you are amazing, you are fabulous. The way I speak life into them, it's the way they spoke life back into me. Ask yourself, what is your language like? What are your words? What are the words you're choosing to use? Because I've heard some really bad words in schools. Many children in our lives, in our world, have been given not nice words in school. How are we creating the space in school so students feel that sense of belonging? We can start in our classrooms just by even the vocabulary we're using. So I want you to remember that. So what is belonging? Belonging here, again, talk about the extent to which children feel included individually. Here goes those words again. individually welcome, respected. Now, let me show you something. Let me move on. This is a very popular picture I like to use. I'm going to tell you something, Angela. Let's you and I have a little chat together, just you and I. You see, when our students struggle to belong, Angela, this is it. Too many of our students are struggling. This is not school. This is not school, Angela. No matter what we try to do, no matter what we say, the plant is growing, no matter what we say, well, when the rain falls, water gets in the cracks, this is not school. I'm sorry, this is not it. Belonging has to be nurtured and watered. School needs to be a place where we pour into our students. We give them enough sunlight. We shelter them when it's too hot, when it's scorching. We make sure they are not covered in weeds and the things that will allow them to fail and not achieve. We, the teacher, we have the insecticide and the pesticide and the shovel and the manure and the good stuff. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I always say, teachers, we have the good stuff. We are actually amazing set of people. We tell students things and they believe us. When I ask children, what you want to be? They say, oh, sir, I want to be a dentist. I go, I think I'm going to have a toothache. Somebody's going to have to be a dentist to fix Mr. Campbell's mouth. That's the way you speak to them. And I check up on them. In grade 1 and grade 2, I check up on them. I said, well, hello, Mr. Dentist. Hello, Miss Dentist. I hope you're good doing your work, because I know you're going to be a dentist and you have to take care of Mr. Campbell's mouth. So when I go on social media and I see my students from the Bahamas, especially, who are all in their 20s now, they are dentists and they're vet. I have students who are lawyers. My heart is full. And they still tell me thanks. They still send me messages. They still remember me in grade 1 and grade 6 and grade 5. And grade 9 and grade 7. They still remind me of stories I told them. How I poured life into them. So I want you to understand it's important. So I want to share with you another picture, another story. And this story is going to be a little bit about the reality of the work that you and I have to do. So I don't want you to feel for 1 minute that I think you don't put in the work and the effort. But I want to let you know, sometimes we have to expand that work. So this is my house. This is my house. This is my dining table. I love to entertain. If you heard my introduction, the last sentence says, I like people, food, fashion, and travel, and bringing people together for a big meal. I've been saying that for years upon years. I love hosting and entertaining. And I want you to understand I do this very well. But I'm going to tell you this story of this picture. I decided to host specifically a different group of people. So I was going to invite all my Black students from the University of Toronto, the Black leadership team, all those kind of Black, just a day of Black joy and Black brunch and Black community coming together at my house. A lot of those people have never been to my house. They're new. I don't know them like that. And so I sent an invitation out. Over 30 people got the invitation to come for brunch. And all of a sudden, Susanna, I started getting messages on my phone. One message came in. Somebody don't eat anything too spicy because they know the curry goat has to be spicy. Another person is vegan. Another person is vegetarian. Another person don't drink coconut milk, coconut juice. And all of a sudden, the planning, I go, oh, wow. So now I have to start to think, how am I going to make sure that the people I invited, remember now it's my invitation, the people who I invited to my home feel a genuine sense that they were not only invited, but they were considered, they were thought of, they were prepared for, and I'm here to give them the best. The last phone call I got was from one of the young ladies to remind me that she and 3 others were hijab wearing Muslim women and their meat had to be halal. I am telling you this story because I want you to realize you're not going to just snap your finger and it's going to happen. The work has to be a little bit more intentional than voila. It's not going to do voila. You're not going to do voila. It's not going to work. It's intentionality. So here's the story, Jennifer. I called my friend and I said, I don't know where to get halal food, meat. I don't eat halal meat. That's not what I do. And I've never had Muslim friends come to my house for dinner before. So I don't know. He said to me, there's a supermarket next door to you that sells halal meat. I said, no, it don't. Watch me carefully, Jennifer. Mindset. I'm coming from my own cultural competence. I don't know about this meat, but I'm saying what I need to say. I said no. I go to supermarket next door me. It's literally 200 feet away. I have never seen halal meat in there before. He said to me, yes, it is. I walk into the supermarket and right in front of me on the meat section in a green fancy section says halal. I have never seen it before. It was always there. But you see, when you don't go looking, when you don't go with that level of preparation, you don't know it's there. As educators, we have to know some of the things we say is not possible. It is possible. So I went and I got it. And that was the end of the event. When everyone, and there are tons of other pictures I can show you, not everybody, of course, only 4 ladies were hijab wearing, all the other 20-something guests got to enjoy, because I separated not just halal meat, but vegetable, made sure there were peanut allergies. I had to protect people, make sure that some meat was not too spicy, and make sure those who were allergic to coconut milk, their meat was not having coconut in it. I want you to realize through my story that belonging is dependent on a number of things. It's dependent on the connections you are making with your students and the people around you. It's dependent on the trust. It's dependent on inclusion and identity and safety. It's dependent on all of these things. If people do not feel like they can be themselves when it comes to identity, they're not going to be safe. And they're not going to feel included. And they're not going to trust you. And they won't connect with you. And there won't be any sense of belonging. They can't. If you disrespect people because of how their families are made up, they're not going to trust you. So I want you to think about how belonging, and belonging is about relationships. It's grounded in relationships. Now, here comes my favorite picture for the day, everybody. And this comes to us from Carter and Biggs, 2021. E. Carter and Biggs, 2021. And that the research is about creating communities of belonging for students with significant cognitive disabilities. And it's in a belonging series. You could Google it. Google the researchers, Carter, Carter, and Biggs, Biggs, 2021. I want you to look carefully and see how belonging is being defined. I want you to look. So our conversation has been going on for a while. I want you to look at how belonging is being defined. Invited, welcomed, known, accepted, supported, cared for, befriended, needed, loved. I want you to understand these are the deep elements of belonging. And so Carter says that what he asks a few questions. One of the questions is, what are the experiences and relationships that will assure them as in our students, that they have a cherished space within their learning community? What is a cherished space? When I saw it first and I smiled, I said, wow, the researchers use the word cherished. What is a cherished space? And then I actually asked myself a little bit of a silly question. I was like, are schools and classrooms and offices a place that people cherish? People can just cherish their homes, not a school. And then I corrected myself, Camille. I corrected myself. I said, Andrew, that's me, Camille, that's me. I said, Andrew, of course. There are students, Diane and Camille, that school is the only cherished place they know. I'm going to tell you something before I get back to this. I was teaching grade 5, 6 split at a time, Camille. And I discovered one of my students, never had this before in my life, never experienced this. One of my students was living in a shelter. So he would come to school, leave the shelter, come to Mr. Campbell's class, that's my class, and he would leave Mr. Campbell's class and go back to the shelter. I discovered that one day after school in a meeting with the principal. I'm a cry person. I'm very emotional. I went into my car, Camille, and I cried. I cried because I was trying to figure out, have I been treating this child with the extra care and love and belonging and invitation and welcome that he needs? Because school, my classroom, has to be the cherished space. The next morning I came to school, my entire mindset was shifted because I knew as his teacher, I had a duty of care at a higher level because he needed more. That's what we call equity. Giving students what they need so they could be amazing. Not everybody needs the same thing. I know a lot of us, we get into a space where I want to be a good teacher. I want to make sure all my kids feel the same way. So I give everybody an apple. I do the Oprah. You get an apple, you get an apple, you get an apple, you get an apple. Well, everybody don't need an apple, Camille. Somebody's allergic to apple. What are you doing? They don't need an apple. That child mother sells apple. She don't need an apple from you, Camille. That boy, his uncle owns the entire farm that you would get the apple from. He don't need your apple. But me, that boy, me, I'm Johnny. I'm in the corner. I need 3 apples from you. Because when I go home, I may not have anything. So I need an extra apple. That's what equity is. Giving our students what they need. Not everybody needs the same thing. How are we extending our care? Write that word down. How are we extending our care? And some students don't need that extension either. Some students need absolutely nothing except the regular love and care and respect. They are good. I have taught gifted kids before. They just need me to be like the cheerleader in the room. They could teach themselves. Technically, they could teach themselves. Some of those gifted kids are more intelligent than I am. They have a higher IQ than the teacher. How are we taking care of that cherished place that we call school? Here's my next point. The next one comes. How would you know whether your students have found a space of belonging in your school? How would you know? How would you know that? How would you know that? That's a question for you. Write it down. Take a picture. This is a question you could unpack later on. I don't know what you're doing for the rest of the day, but these need unpacking. I am not there to unpack it. This need unpacking. Maybe next week's staff meeting, we need some unpacking. Here's my next question. Schools that are committed to the concept or statement of belonging must have a strong understanding of the practices and postures that contribute to the goal. Here is my next question, though. What does belonging look like in your school? Here's my next question. Who are the persons cultivating belonging? Here's my next question. Who are the persons protecting the belonging of others who may have been robbed or easily belonging taken away from them? Right now we hear what's going on with our trans students who are scared. They are losing, they feel that they're losing their sense of belonging in our schools. We see in one province, we see what's going on with a conversation. So what I'm going to do, we're going to go into some case studies at this time. And you are going to get 5 minutes. I'm going to see my timing. Good, my timing is good. What we're going to do, I want everybody to look at the pictures. We're going to do 3 case studies. Video case studies, that is. You're going to watch the video. So make sure your sound and your volume is good. And when we finish watching the video, I'm going to pause the recording. I'm not going to capture all the videos in the recording. And I'm going to pause it so you can be in your room. Turn off your mic. You don't need to have your mics on. So I won't capture that. Don't worry. And I want you to take 3 minutes to talk to somebody that is sitting next to you. And I want you to share using these questions. So each person can take a minute. You don't need to answer all. Just take 1 or 2 if you want. As you're watching the video, I want you to ask yourself, what did you see? What did you think happened? What did you hear? How did you feel? Could this have happened to me? Could this have happened to you? Why not? We're going to be reflective. Let's get into it. We're going to do that, and we're going to take our time. And I want us to realize the intentionality behind our conversation this morning. And I want you to realize these are not school examples I'm using. I don't need to use school examples. What I want you to see is just what you hear, what you feel, the elements of belonging that are being threatened, that are being erased, that are being impacted. So let's get into our first video. Normally it says share the sound. So I hope I can hear the sound. Yeah. If you're not hearing the sound, somebody please let me know quickly. Quickly.
Michelle Lebrec was recently found to have a fractured pelvis, but it took 3 trips to hospital before she received that diagnosis.
You're not treated as well as like the white people that come in, and a native or just seem to be turned away.
Not her first bad hospital experience. Once, she went to see a doctor about stomach pain. They discussed her drinking problem and homelessness. He gave her this. When she complained, the hospital apologized, but she felt humiliated.
It's discriminating against natives, I'm pretty sure.
Discrimination against Aboriginal people is, in fact, pervasive in the healthcare system, according to this new study, which says ongoing racism has had a major impact on Aboriginal people's health.
Yeah.
The study's author suggests many healthcare workers have, quote, unconscious pro-white biases.
It bothers me that people think that it's okay to pretend that we don't have these issues in our own backyard.
The study found Aboriginal people often just avoid medical care to avoid discriminatory treatment.
Some other medication that I take and use.
Carol McFadden put off breast screening for years after a doctor suggested she needn't have come to a clinic for examination. She recently discovered she has stage 4 cancer.
You're somebody that
Okay, so we're going to stop sharing there. And I'm going to give you, like I said, I'm going to give you 3 minutes on the clock for you to speak to your partner right at your decks, right in your space. What did you hear? What did you feel? Could this have happened to you? Why? Why not? How does this work when it comes to belonging? Go ahead, 3 minutes on the clock. And I'm pausing the video. All right, we're going to move on. Thank you so much. And it's just for you to just get a hint there. And I can, when I send the recordings, can send the link to those videos if you want to continue and expand. Let's get to the second case study. I want you to look carefully at all the things you are seeing. What I want you to be, when you watch this one, I want you to look at what you see happening in the foreground and in the background. Because a lot of stuff are happening in the background that are impacting belonging. I want you to take a note of that. Let's go for the next video.
This is from Saturday at a semi-pro hockey game in Saint-Jérôme near Montreal. Fans yelling racist slurs at Jonathan D.R.ABC, who is black, one even leaning over the side of the penalty box to taunt him. And it didn't stop there. Fans turned on D.R.B.'s father and girlfriend who were in the stands, insulting and threatening them as well. Our Alison Northcott now with the story behind the video and the outrage it sparked.
I had to put my jersey over my face because I had teardrops, you know?
Jonathan D.R.B. says he's faced racism before, but nothing like this.
They started yelling racist stuff at my parents and my sister and all that, and myself, girl, Negro, and all that, the baboons, like a bunch of stuff that was said.
The insults, he says, came from a handful of spectators and were so bad he and his family left the arena before the game was over.
Well, my dad was told to go back home, that he had no business in his country and all, and stuff like that. People were like touching his hair. They were making fun of him. My sister was scared. My girlfriend was scared.
He says referees and security guards did nothing to protect them. D.R.B.'s league, the Ligue Nord-Américaine de Hockey, is notorious for rough play and rowdy crowds. But D.R.B.'s coach says even by that standard, this goes too far.
In 2019 is something that, we shouldn't see anymore. And it's, I think it's disgusting.
Je tiens à m'excuser à Jonathan D.R.B. The head of the league apologized to D.R.B. in this video, telling fans that racist, sexist, or homophobic comments are unacceptable.
Okay, we're going to stop there, stop sharing. And again, we're going to take another 3 minutes. What are the things you heard? What you saw happening? Where is a sense of belonging for not just the person there, but think about his father and his sister. That for me was the part. What could have happened? What should have happened? Did anybody speak up? Did anybody say anything? Let's have a discussion. 3 minutes on the clock. I'm going to pause the video again. Welcome back. Welcome back. What are some of those conversations like? If you noticed in that video, the number of persons who had something to say, the apologies. I was in a workshop and we workshopped the entire videos, like 10 minutes on each. And people were noticing the language in all the videos and the apologies and the statements. Many of us, we are very good with providing statements and apologies, but the actions are not being created. There's a lack of accountability. There's a lot of lack of consequence. So here comes my last video, and I want again us to listen, especially listen to the ways one person is seeking to feel a sense of belonging, or how belonging seems to be threatened by different things, policies, Think about our schools, policies, practices, trends, what are acceptable, what we honor. Think about that when you observe this one. Let's go.
Former X Factor star Matt Terry has spoken to us about the pressures he's faced about his sexuality. He says he didn't get the support he needed even while he was winning X Factor. In one instance, he says he was told his look was too gay. Matt Terry spoke to us on camera for the first time since the release of his new single, as Rishi Davda reports.
So darling, stay. Through the TV, we saw Matt Terry take his first steps towards stardom. But the joy of winning the X Factor was tainted by experiences he had behind the scenes.
It'd be like putting blonde in my hair and this and that. Got a hole in my eyebrows, maybe a little too slick. And then I remember just like being pulled back into the hair room after my dress rehearsal because it come from above that I looked too gay. I don't know who. I never will. I knew then that I couldn't be myself.
During his time on the show, many of the tabloids were more interested in his sexuality than his singing.
Do you think there was enough care provided to you as an artist?
Absolutely not. Nowhere near. Nowhere near. Which I know would have changed today. I can't blame the show because it's given me a career, but also I'd be lying if I said my mental health wasn't affected.
In response, a spokesperson for the competition said the X Factor has always been proud to champion and welcome contestants from a diverse range of backgrounds, with the duty of care of all contributors being of the utmost importance to us, adding, during Matt's time on the show in 2016, there were robust measures in place to ensure everyone involved in the making of the programme was supported throughout their experience and beyond, including a dedicated welfare team.
Okay, we're going to stop there. You don't need to meet in any groups anymore. Just stay right there for a minute. We're going to wrap up in a couple minutes. But I want to point a few things out as you was watching this video. I want you to notice his use of the word care, or the reporter use of the word care. Do you feel enough care was provided? I want you to think about that. The next thing I want you to think about that maybe some of you, when I do this in person, a lot of times people come up with the same word. Another word that for me was the word tainted. You heard that. His experience was tainted. I talk to students every day who feel like certain experiences at schools were tainted by certain things that happened to them at school. I remember my own growing up. Didn't get to experience a lot of stuff that I think I should have experienced a certain way as a child who was 10 or 11 or 12. Tainted by bullying, tainted by name calling, tainted by feeling unsafe. Ask yourself that. And then the last thing I noticed in this one was the use of the word above. I always highlight this one. And many people sometimes come up with it. When I do this workshop, people they write this one down. I always say to them, write certain words that jump out to you. And I always get the word above, because he said it comes from above. And above meaning leadership. It meaning power. It meaning those who set the standard and the rules. It means our policies and our processes. It means what is coming down. So I'm very much aware that there are things coming on. So let me give you a good example of what that looked like. This year, last year to this year, I worked with Dufferin Peel Catholic District School Board. I did about 5 different events with them. I was a speaker, workshop, whatever, over the course of the year, 5 separate events. Just the end of the year coming, June gone, I was done with them, and everybody's, living their best lives. And I was a keynote speaker at Toronto Catholic District School Board. So at Toronto Catholic District School Board, I was the keynote speaker at the Pride ceremony. At the head office at the Toronto Catholic District School Board, they raised the Pride flag. I was the speaker. It was amazing. A week after that, the trustees and the board at the Dufferin Peel Catholic District School Board decided they would not raise the flag. A lot of teachers cried. So when we say power and structures and being intentional and inaction and hurt happening in school, it's the realities. But I want to close with a final video. This is my closing video. And I love to use this video because this video is a clear reminder to all of us of the influence we have and the power. As a school, we need to get it right. As a board, we need to work together as different, divisions, whether elementary, high school, whatever, different departments. But I also like to say to teachers, we have personal and individual responsibility. Some of you who are watching me right now, you are the cherished space for many students. I know that. There are certain teachers in our schools that our students feel safe to speak to go to. They look to you for the light and the glow. If I tell you stories, you would not believe it. Personal stories of adult students who have said to me with tears running down, Dr. Campbell, I would never miss your class on a Wednesday night for nothing. It's more than teaching. It's therapy. It's the happiest place. It's the place that I get to laugh the most. I cry the most, but I also leave feeling like a better person every time. So I know the power that you bring. I know the influence you bring. And I want to close this conversation with that beautiful reminder that you are absolutely amazing and you can do things and create a sense of belonging that is necessary and is lacking in many schools. Let's take our last video, our last case study, just a reflection as we close this session. I'm going to stop there. I want you to remember that you are magician. I'm a very, very, very proud teacher. Some of you could guess and figure that out. I know the power we bring. I know the love we bring. I know the joy we can sprinkle. We can do it. We can do it. We can absolutely do it. Many of our students need more cherished spaces in our schools. They need more cherished spaces in our schools. And we have the power to do it. Thank you so much for having me this morning. It is an absolute pleasure being in your presence. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Superintendent Joe, it's over back to you.
Thank you, Dr. ABC. That was wonderful. So I'm going to turn over for a moment to Dana, who is one of our other well-being leads, to just do a thank you. Then I'll just do a few closing remarks. Miigwech.
Good morning. On behalf of the ADSB, thank you, Dr. Campbell. Your insights on equity remind us that belonging is built on recognizing each other's experiences and identities. When we see, when we honor and amplify these differences, we create a space where every voice matters. We're deeply grateful for the compassion and purpose you've brought to us today. To everyone who joined us today, if Dr. Campbell's message has inspired you, I encourage you to join Nicole Kay and I for a district-wide book study that we're starting on Dr. Campbell's newest book called Stop the Hate, for Goodness Sake. This will be a chance for us to continue these powerful conversations, share our stories, and work together to make our schools places where equity and belonging are more than just words. They're the foundation of everything that we do. Thank you again, Dr. Campbell, and thank you to everyone here today for your dedication to creating inclusive and equitable learning environments, communities where every individual feels valued, supported, and most importantly, communities where they truly belong. Thank you.
Rich, Dana. So as we move into the rest of our day, where again, we're going to continue to focus on belonging this morning, you got to recall, Dr. Campbell, some of your words at the end, really inspirational. You as individuals are often the chair space. Our students, and this is not just our teachers, we have all kinds of staff in these sessions right now. We're all, whether it be a caretaker, secretary, teacher, ed assistant, all the others that we have in spaces, our principals and VPs. And students look to us to that light and that glow and love the final message that we can do it. That's where we are. We can do it, and we do it together, which is what we're going to focus on now in schools, as schools or as teams working together. And the next little reflective piece, and then some more work for another presentation. How do we do that together? Because it's not about individuals. It is, but it's the group that benefits when everybody feels included. This isn't a prioritizing an individual over everyone else. It's prioritizing everyone so the full group is included, and the full group excels, the full group benefits from what we do together. And we're much stronger together when we have that diverse opinion, diverse thought, and everyone feels that safety. So thank you, Miigwech, to everyone for what we have been doing on this. We've done some great work, but as we know, we have continued to move forward. And I'm just going to say, Bamapi, have a great day.